The glamour ties keep coming for Grimsby Town, Manchester United, Sheffield Wednesday, and now Cambridge United visit Blundell Park. Hello and a very warm welcome to Under the Abbey Stand, the preview show. Happy Friday. This is your Friday pod. My name is Jordan Warland and I'm going to be discussing how Saturday could be the perfect time to put things right after the defeat to Oldham last weekend. Talking of putting things right, I'm joined by a man whose loose lips are fast becoming villain of the season, front runner. It's Mr. Matt Caspel. We meet again, Matt.
Hey, this is great. I'm back by popular demand. That's it. 4 pods in a row for me now.
You're back because of Swindle's dodgy laptop not working. Apparently doesn't work. God knows what Swindle's got on that laptop that's broken it.
I don't want to know. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think anyone really needs to... Don't stress any brain cells trying to figure out what might have happened to his laptop. I think he's run. I
think Swindle is running scared because Grimsby is one of those clubs that he, of course, supports. Grimsby, Carlisle, Spurs, Cambridge United. So it's a difficult day for him on Saturday. Obviously, mixed emotions. Which end's he going to be in? Who knows?
Watching us get pumped by Grimsby. He's quietly fist pumping under his breath.
I have a question for you because you're going to Grimsby itself on Saturday, I believe.
I am.
Is that correct? That is correct.
Yeah.
My question, Matt Caspel, what is more appealing to you? A football ground that, in my opinion, smells like fish, or fish and chips with a pint of your choice for just £15? Which one's more appealing?
Well, that sounds like a no-brainer, Jord. Talk me through it.
That's a tap-in, my friend. A tap-in. We are, of course, talking about our great sponsors this season, the Old Spring at number 1 Ferry Path. As part of their sponsorship, the pub are offering 3 different deals, one of which is a Matchday Meal Deal. So before every Cambridge United home or away game, so valid this Saturday, for £15, they've got 3 different meal options on there, plus any beer. There's a Saturday happy hour every Saturday, 6 till 7. Updated time. What it was 5:30 is now 6 till 7, where you get half price beers and then ticket holder discount, 10% off any time, but you can't use it if you're using any of the other deals, where any CUFC season ticket or match ticket for this week or next gets you a 10% off your bill. Lots of great deals there. I know a few Used fans that have been going down and supporting it, so thanks for that. I know one Used fan had a slight challenge last weekend with one of the deals, but we have been reassured that was a mistake. So it's all good for this weekend going forward.
Do we buy this guy a skepasti? What happens? We sign him up for like a skepasti dinner with Swindle or something as by way of apology.
Mate, I did the podcast with you, just you on Sunday, the review show, and you offered to get people skepastis.
Well, no one did it though, did they?
You're now offering people more skepastis. Like, you're just Greek food generous at the moment.
Is it Greek? I've got no idea.
Right? it's Greek. Yeah.
Okay, that's great stuff. That's great stuff.
Where did you think the skepasti was from? Let's see how.
I didn't have a strong.
How incorrect you can be.
I didn't have a strong sense. Just somewhere over there.
You telling me it's not a local Grimsby dish? No, okay.
Not that I'm aware of, mate. Mate, we'll get some fish and chips on Saturday. That's like Grimsby 101, isn't it? Not really completed the bingo card until you've had your fish and chips.
What are you more nervous about? The Grimsby game on Saturday, or the fact that you are cooking your family's dinner whilst also doing this podcast? What are you more nervous about?
This is not without precedent. I mean, it's not whole family, thank God, but I can't remember what the game we were reviewing was, but I'd like really ambitiously put a lasagna in the oven. You might remember, which is like a good that's like 45 minutes, if you know what I mean.
That's famously Julian Roberts' Christmas
Day
dinner.
I did it for Jules, obviously. Yeah, famous. Yeah, maybe it was Christmas Day. Yeah, I had Jules round. No, so I mean, this is not without precedent, but quick as we can.
Right. Before we get on to this weekend coming, couple of questions for you. How are you feeling since we last spoke on Sunday about the Oldham defeat? Have you, I don't know, had any change of mindsets, any better or worse thoughts with a bit of time since that defeat on Saturday?
Well, this was a bit of a new one for us. We were criticised on X, I guess, or we had some feedback on X saying that we were being too soft on the players. which is without precedent in the entire history of UTAS, I think.
That's like a red flag to some parts of UTAS. That's like a green light for them to go off the hook and proper lay into people. So
that has triggered a bit of a sent a shockwave through the group chat for sure. I mean, to answer your question, no, I mean, I feel the same. I felt fairly at peace with it, I guess. I think same thing I said on the review pod, really. I feel like if we think we're a mid-table team, then that was just quite a mid-table thing that we did. I guess, again, same as review show, if your ambitions are higher and you feel like we should definitely get in playoffs or pushing even harder, then I guess there's a reason to be a bit upset. But I do think Oldham's position is probably a bit falsely low. If that makes sense. I can see them being very hard to beat, and I can also see them getting it all kind of clicking with a bit more rhythm and actually being quite competitive in the league. So if I had to make a bet right now, I think Oldham will finish higher than us in the table. And I guess on that
really
backwards logic, you can.
I'll take that bet. One Skepasti.
One Skepasti.
One Skepasti. We finish higher than Oldham.
That's my literal currency of choice. I've been talking to my clients all week about Skepastis. So everyone's just confused at this point. Do we think there's a World Skepasti Day? It's not today, is it?
Don't know if I want to live in a world where there isn't a World Skepasti Day.
Well, if there's not, then we'll create one. Hey, let's do it.
I think for me, I don't know. I'm similar. I don't think my feelings have changed too much since the weekend. Maybe come a little bit more sort of mellow and in the mindset, if you could, self about us being that mid-table team and doing that kind of performance. My only hope is, I hope that we learn from that, because I really think we will have quite a few games like that this season, especially at home, probably mainly at home, to be honest. But yeah, where we are gonna have to find ways to grind out results against teams that have, I don't know, like targeted us or thought about us and done their homework and kind of come with a plan and work really, really hard to stick to that plan. So maybe in a weird sense, Saturday might be a positive, like more to learn from that. I do think the Saturday coming, though, Grimsby away, completely, I don't want to say kettle of fish because we talk about fish in Grimsby. I don't want to say it. It's just going to be a completely different challenge. There we go. That's a better way of discussing it. And actually going somewhere where we're probably going to be the team that doesn't have all the possession and going to be the team that actually might be soaking it up a bit more. So I think it might be chalk and cheese, these two games, but we'll touch on Grimsby. Right. We'll touch on Grimsby in more detail in the later part of the pod. Topical joke for you, Caspel. If I was to compare Saturday's result to a Radiohead song, it'd have to be Let Down, of course.
That's great. That's great stuff. Jord is bustering me up because I've got a one of the you had to register for a ballot, and I've got a code, which means tomorrow. Well, today is the pod comes out.
Remember, it's Friday. It's definitely Friday, not Thursday evening.
That's it. It's definitely not. Why would I be cooking dinner on a Friday morning? Questions will be asked. Anyway, I've got a Radiohead access code. Obviously, after all this Coldplay, drama on the pod a few weeks ago, I desperately need to restore my credibility in terms of actually having music taste. So, yeah, Radiohead. I've got access and Jord doesn't. Puts us in a sort of interesting position, I would say. But yeah, that's going to be a big focus for me on. As this pod probably coming out, I'll probably be sweating bullets, seeing what place I'm going to occupy in the queue.
You can do it, mate. I believe in you. Don't let us down.
I believe in myself.
Don't let us down. I just hope Mark Bonner's there. It's not a gig unless Mark Bonner's there, as we know.
That's true.
Anyway, talking of where United fans might be, I'm not sure if there'll be 4,500 Cambridge United fans at the Radiohead gigs. I would hope to think there are. But where there will be 4,500 Cambridge United fans, Matt, is Fulham away. Possibly even more, because there's still time for people to buy their tickets. But yeah, news out of the club today or yesterday was an update on the sales. That's a massive number. What's your take on that? You excited?
Well, I said it in our group chat. Is there a chance it makes us seem a little bit tin pot? Why are we getting so excited about the League Cup? I'm just sort of picturing a scene where I don't know. The atmosphere is obviously going to be great, and to have that many people is awesome, and it's great that people are making all the effort. I just feel like I don't know. We'll score a goal maybe at some point. It's going to be like, yay, League Cup, if you know what I mean. Like it's the third round of the League Cup, so it's going to be difficult to get that excited about it. But we've got a pretty steady plan around, half day, have a few pints. So I'm sure by the time the game rolls around, we'll be in high spirits. To be honest, it's a great effort. Like cost of living crisis, all of this. It's always great to take big numbers to any of these away games. So question marks about Tom Walker and what his timings to go into the concourse at half time and how long he spends in the concourse, but
Or when he comes back out, yeah.
when he comes back, so all that to be discovered, I guess. But yeah, no, it's obviously a really good effort. I guess I'm lucky because I'm in Surrey, so easy for me.
Right side of the river, possibly. I don't know my geography that well.
Actually,
Probably
technically the ground's on the wrong side of the river, as it were, but you can see it from the river. It's river adjacent, right? So
I'm really looking forward to it. Big crowd. What looks to be like a really good sort of away end in terms of sort of old stadium and things like that. So yeah, fair play to everyone that's coming down for it.
Also, does this mean Old Spring? Does that mean 4,500 people will become eligible soon to all go and get the deal? And could they all do it at the same time, like a mad TikTok flash mob?
I mean, technically yes, because as long as they keep hold of their ticket to prove they were there, I'm pretty sure that pub can't hold 4,500 people. So would love to see it.
It's only one way to find out. Get yourself down there.
I also don't know if they have a TV. Like, would they show the game? Any Cambridge fans who can't make it for whatever reason?
I spoke with them about this because they are interested in trying to do that. But I think when I gave them the reality of how much that costs, I think they decided it probably wasn't the best idea.
Can't afford it with all these half price pints they're giving away.
That's what it is. Yeah, they must make a slim margin on those capacities. I'm guessing.
You mentioned about sort of like whether or not to be excited about the League Cup and the third round or whatever, but Neil Harris mentioned it in the presser. But we've not got to the third round of this tournament many times, so yeah, it's a bit of sort of uncharted territory for us.
We've waited until there's no prize money to progress, which is that's great stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Sensible, and that is how you become a well-run club. Speaking of well-run clubs, Caspel, gold awarded this week. Very good news for Cambridge United. We're one of 5 clubs that were awarded the gold status in the Fair Game Index. This is the 4th year of this report from the football campaign group called Fair Game. It recognises the work around I think there's about 8 different areas there. So financial sustainability, governance, transparency, fan engagement, diversity, things like that. This year, the index was being billed as regulator ready. So with the impending introduction of the new independent football regulator, it's sort of ranking clubs or marking clubs on how ready they are to sort of pass that criteria. So a terrific result for United to get the gold standard. I guess it just re-emphasizes, Matt, what we've known for a few years now, just how well the club is being run. Just the inclusivity, the community focus, the governance. It's all been such a well-oiled machine for a few seasons now. So congratulations to those involved.
Yeah, 100%. It's always good to see these accolades, and we know a huge amount of work goes in, I guess, behind the scenes that we don't really get much visibility on, I guess. I think there's a lot more that goes on that we don't even see, I suppose. Yeah, no, super exciting. Do they publish maybe I feel like they should get a bit more abrasive and start publishing like Wooden Spoon. Like, who's the worst? Who's bottom of the league?
Well, on that, I can tell you that only 27 clubs of the 164 have been awarded any status. So only 5 of us got the gold. 27 out of 164 got any kind of in good recognition, so gold, silver, or bronze. So that's quite a worrying stat given what's coming with football regulator and so forth.
Does this theoretically mean that in like 20 years' time we might be one of the five biggest clubs in the country? Do we think? Is that how this is going to play out?
Absolutely, it will be Brighton, AFC
Us,
Wimbledon, Carlisle
Carlisle,
United,
and
Bath,
Bath City. I love that. Bath City
and
just
us going for those four
so
Champions League spots.
so well run. We just dunk Bath City into the Europa League on the last day of the season or something. That'd be good.
Bad news for Swindle if Carlisle are in that top five. Who's he going to support?
Yeah, awkward.
Right, let's look at the presser then. Neil Harris speaking to the media yesterday on Thursday about the upcoming fixture this weekend. First things first, good news, Casper, with no fresh injuries. Everyone made it through the Oldham game and we're all in good shape. I'm hoping that survives the time and no one picks up a knock or something on Friday and doesn't go to the game on Saturday. But elsewhere on the injury front, a lot was discussed in the presser about Michael Morrison. By all accounts, is doing really well. He's back in full contact training. He's had sign off from the doctor to be taking part in the full contact training and physical games. The question now, according to Neil Harris, is for Michael Morrison to answer, and that's when he feels that he is ready to play. So good that the club is sort of supporting him with that sort of kind of mental aspect, because I guess it is a big challenge, not just physically coming back, but like mentally to sort of not be weirded out or scarred by what's gone on. Would you say we've missed Morrison over these last few games?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I think certainly from that Oldham game, you feel like we definitely missed him there. I know after, I can't remember which game it was now, but I know Neil Harris was lamenting the lack of Morrison. It was maybe the Harrogate game. Is that when he got injured?
He went off injured, didn't he?
Yeah. He went off injured. Maybe it was that game. I can't even remember now, but certainly Neil Harris feels like we missed him. I'm not sure I went fully along with that narrative because I remember it being something about not having any leaders without Morrison. And then looking across the squad and seeing they're all sort of like in their mid-late 20s, some of them in their 30s, some of them have played in the Premiership and the Championship and the SPL. I was like, one of these guys could be a bit more leadery in the absence of Morrison. So that's a bit of a concern. Look, more bodies back in the building is definitely a good thing. I feel like whilst without talking about recruitment every single pod, we might not feel like we've got the exact depth we wanted everywhere, which is fine because it's understandable and these things happen. To have everybody basically coming back fit, hopefully all at the same time, means, to be honest, proper selection headaches. So, the most compelling thing is that whenever Morrison does come back, there's going to be a question about, who does he displace? Obviously, Kel Watts, I think statistically still our best player of the season so far, has got himself a goal as well and has been looking, to be honest, he's looking better and better week on week on week, in my opinion. He struggled a bit against Oldham. I think we did miss Morrison against Oldham. Just, I don't know, we needed a bit of what they call in boxing, they call it like man strength, if you know what I mean. That sort of strength you develop when you in your 30s, more so than when you're on the younger side, if that makes sense. And they really struggled with that big number 9. So we missed him there. It's a shame the timing of this Grimsby game, because you feel like this is absolutely the sort of game where you might want him, and it feels like it's probably a bit too soon for him. But yeah, I think it's fair to say we've missed him. He is our captain. He's definitely a bit of a heartbeat back there in the back four. I'm not so sure we've missed him massively necessarily from a technical perspective. Like, I think before the Oldham game, some of the chat going around was that maybe, does Morrison come straight back into this team, or do you keep Watts and Jobe? I think the example from the Oldham game probably demonstrates to you why you probably do need like a senior centre back in there and get up with one of those two lads. I think. But yeah, once he's back and fit, obviously nasty injury. So would just be good to have him back whenever he does come back.
Elsewhere in the on the defender front, Gibbo trained all week. He's available for the Grimsby game. Do you think this might be a game for James Gibbons coming in? He's obviously a bit more defensive minded as a fullback. I imagine we probably won't have the ball as much, and we'll probably be doing a bit more defending this weekend. Would you consider starting him?
Yeah, I think that will be in the line of thinking. I guess the only question mark probably is like full 90-minute capability, if that makes sense. But yeah, to me, it seems sort of logical. If Morrison was fit, I think you definitely would. I think if Gibbo's fit, you definitely would. I know we'll talk about lineup later, but just sort of got a weird, sneaky feeling we could be going like back five here. So you might have Gibbo as part of a centre back trio, if that makes sense. Not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I just have a feeling. He might start anywhere or certainly be involved. Definitely. Harris was pretty well. He's full of praise for certainly Gibbons, like his character, if you know what I mean, as much as anything. And just think in a game like Grimsby away, probably true of most games, but certainly Grimsby away, you just want to see us like really combative. You want to see us like snapping into challenges early. And I just feel like maybe we're missing a bit of that against Oldham. We looked a bit lightweight and a bit passive, whereas you feel like if Gibbons starts and you tell him like, go Muller this guy, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like he'll take the assignment and he will put in a very strong challenge in the first couple of minutes in the game. And we just know sometimes that can set the tone almost for the entire football match sometimes if one guy sort of goes with it, everyone else can follow along. So yeah, I think I'd be supportive of that.
I'm going to give us an opportunity to contradict ourselves now.
I love it.
In the presser, Neil Harris was full of praise for Liam Bennett. Liam Bennett also spoke to the media himself. That video is on CUFC TV. Harris was sort of talking about how good a start to the season that Bennett was having, how he's played those different positions, and how he's kept his place on merit because of his performances. Would you agree? Do you think he's had a good start to the season? Would Liam Bennett be one of the names that you sort of point out and saying, yeah, of the game so far, he's been one of the more reliable performers?
I think he's been fine. I don't know that I've overly noticed him in a standout way in either direction, if you know what I mean.
I noticed him coming off against Oldham on Saturday. I really.
Oh well, I mean, we covered that on Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm still in shock. To be fair, when you ask me how I'm feeling today about the game versus, I'm still can't believe that triple sub and how that went down. Yeah,
but like it just doesn't feel like. I mean, maybe Danny Mayer can change this, but it doesn't feel like anyone is sort of getting to that byline, is sticking to the wing. And yeah, I think I've definitely noticed Liam Bennett's attacking contributions this season.
Yes, but like the thing is, there's a few things really. Like I've always said with Bennett, and I feel like it's probably more so in League One because he was maybe a bit exposed physically in League One. I've always felt like he's a sort of player where you need his attacking contribution to sort of patch over or make up for some of the defensive or even just like physical like shortcomings, if that makes sense. No pun. We're short kings as well, Jord. So we know your pain, Liam. It's fine. So and I've just felt like there's a few things really based on his loan spell out of Walsall, where they thought the sun shone out of his arse playing at right back. It could be a Harris thing, like the way we set up, but like my sort of, if you'd have told me a year ago we'd be in this year in League Two and we'd retained Liam Bennett, I'd be quite excited for his prospects. I'd be like, oh man, he's going to get like 10 assists. You know what I mean? He's going to be getting down that byline, whipping in these crosses and just contributing, probably get a few goals. And I just don't know. We're setting a high bar for him here because I think his ceiling is really high. I think his potential is really high. So it's too early to say. It's been 7 games or whatever, but I think probably for him, but certainly for me, I would hope and expect just a little bit more from him. It's not to say I don't think he's been fine. I think he's been absolutely fine. He's been like a solid 6.5, if you know what I mean. But, you want to be putting pressure on him to say, look, you want to be one of our standout players. You know what I mean? You want to really be, there'll be scouts at all these games. It's reasonable to assume that he's got higher aspirations in Cambridge at some point in the future. Go and earn it. Go and prove it. Right now, I don't think we're seeing that. We're not seeing that he's capable so far in the 7 games that he's, I don't know, so far capable of going beyond League Two, in my opinion, just based on what we've seen just this season. So he's been fine. But I think there's scope for him to do more, to make more contribution attacking and defensive, to be honest.
I think he's dealt better with so far this season, and I'm conscious of jinxing this. I think he's done better of sort of being targeted and sort of attackers sort of targeting him. Not perfect, but I think he's stepped up and dealt with it better this year. So yeah, hopefully that good form continues for him. Elsewhere in the presser, Matt, they talked a lot about Shane Lavery. Obviously, first minutes of the season for him came on against Oldham. Neil Harris was saying that Lavery's critique of his performance on Saturday was that he felt rusty. Urged us and reminded us that we need to be patient with both Lavery and Smith, and they're managing their minutes in training and so forth. I just wonder, Matt, what's your take on how this weekend might pan out? Like, could this be a weekend where we keep it tight and it's a close game, it's a tight game for the distance, but maybe it could be won by who comes off the bench, maybe who has the better bench, the better options later in the game. And as we saw against Oldham, we've got an all right bench now, and yeah, could Lavery be one of those factors that could sway it on Saturday should we still be in the game with sort of 10-20 left?
Well, I hope you're right, because I think in my head that there's an alternate way this football match plays out where we just don't see Shane Lavery because the game's been put in a position where we feel like he's not going to be able to make a drastic difference to the outcome. So to be honest, I hope you're right, because if we're in the game and we keep it tight and it's back to the wall, like, I think, it'd be reasonable to say what Oldham did to us last Saturday was a smash and grab. I don't think that's quite fair to them because I think they're a bit better than that. I think they actually earned it a bit more. We've got to go and do exactly that to Grimsby. We literally need to take the blueprint for how Oldham approach the game against us and just copy paste that and repeat it. So yeah, if we're in that game, whether that's an early goal like Oldham got, or we just keep it 0-0, keep it super tight and stay in the game to 70 minutes, then yeah, I mean, this is an exciting thing about having Lavery back, is that I feel like, get a bit of momentum, get him subbed on and see what impact he's able to make. Whether Harris continues his policy of sort of chucking loads of attacking players on all in one go, I think would be an interesting thing to see, because I think I would say probably more than 5 occasions now, he has destabilized us quite significantly by sort of setting up, like we spoke about on Sunday, sort of just suddenly like we'd go from a normal sort of shape to having like 5 or 6 attacking players and everyone kind of not really having well-defined roles. So I'm interested to see how we approach that. But all of this, hopefully you're right, basically. Hopefully we're still in the game. I mean, it will be really good for us all collectively as and when Lavery gets that goal. And hopefully, the thing is, because he's only probably going to be used in important situations for the next couple of weeks at least. If and when he does score in the next couple of weeks, almost certainly going to be an important goal that he scored. So, mate, I'd be well up for that on Saturday. A little Lavery last-minute winner.
Why not?
Why not?
Straight off the fish and chip shop afterwards, mate. Talking of things that you'd be well up for, are you well up for finding out a little bit more about Saturday's opponents, Grimsby Town, via a fan interview?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's hear from Tom Walker, who found out more.
Right, and news fans, we're joined by Matt from the View From The Findus podcast, covering everything relating to Grimsby Town. Grimsby Town at the moment, I mean, 4th in the league, just beaten title favourites MK Dons away from home. A pretty incredible night in the Carabao Cup, knocking out Man United only just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, from the outside looking in, Matt, it looks probably about as good as you could have hoped, and probably as good as it could be to be a Grimsby fan at the moment.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a good place to be at the minute. We've had our time where things haven't been so great and things off the pitch haven't been so great, but it all just sort of feels like it's starting to come together, or has come together, and it's just we're building on that. But we've got really good manager in Dave Artell, really good sort of owners off the pitch as well, and just look to be a team with a plan at the minute. And it's just I'm saying this now, and you'll come and beat us 4-0 on Saturday. But it's a nice place to be. For those who watched the United game, fully deserved it. Played really well. Again, Milton Keynes on Saturday. There's been a bit of a hangover, I think, from the United game. A lot of physical and mental exertion after that. But Saturday we went toe to toe with Milton Keynes and 3-0 up at half time. Bit of a dodgy second half after they went down to 10, and we let them back in a little bit. But yeah, no, as you rightly said, it's a nice time to be a Town fan. It's always a nice time to be a Town fan, but especially so at the minute.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, probably like a lot of people listening, I was very much tuned into the Man United game, and I mean, look, you beat Man United, right? So it must have been good. But I've got to say, I think the only disappointment for me was that you didn't do them in normal time, because you're miles a better team. But then obviously, you probably take a bit of a hangover after that, right? But it is what it is. But we obviously move on to Saturday and very much back to the league action. Last league game between Cambridge and Grimsby was a memorable one for us. Saw us got promoted into League One during the end of the sort of lockdown year. But yeah, I mean, talk me through it then. What sort of Grimsby Town team should we be expecting to face? How does it all look at the moment?
Well, I think it's probably a sort of a change. Certainly, if you're going back to the last time you played us, I'd like to think we've sort of developed quite a bit since then. I think we're a different prospect for teams now. We certainly go about the game in a different way. I think historically, even going back to sort of the non-league days, we were seen as like a sort of a bit more of a sort of disciplined, well-ordered. You knew what you were going to get. It was going to be a physical test. We were going to work hard, be quite workmanlike. We were a decent side, obviously, in non-league, but we're a lot more of a technical side now. Under David Artell, I think we play a much better brand of football. A much more progressive style of football. We create more chances. You look at the stats in terms of sort of XG and all of that sort of kind of stuff, which I don't profess to be an expert in, but in terms of chances created, goals scored, we're right up there. And it's like I say, it's a different style of football to I think most teams who come to Blundell Park or come up against Town these days are expecting. We're very much sort of in the mould of a David Artell side, I think, who like to get on the ball and sort of knock it about and play good football. And it's nice to see, because as a kid growing up watching Town under sort of the likes of Alan Buckley and teams like that, going right back to like the late 90s, we were a good football inside. So it's nice to get back to that and be a bit of pose teams a bit of a different threat and actually play football, that's easy on the eye. So as I say, I prefix this. It could all go wrong on Saturday, but yeah, it's certainly a different way of going about things, and it's long may it continue, because it's working well for us so far.
Yeah, good to hear. I mean, obviously results is the key thing, I guess, but you always want to be enjoying what you're watching as well as that. So, you mentioned David Artell there, and obviously a little bit. Seems like he had a bit of a season of sort of breaking in and sort of settling down, and a lot of managers might not be afforded the time to do that, but it's good to see that's paying results. I mean, what are your thoughts on Dave Artell and the job that he's done while he's been with you guys?
I think a lot of that, like you say, he might not have got that time at other clubs, and I think we're indebted to really sensible owners in Andrew Pettit and Jason Stockwood, who have been a bit of a godsend without getting too hyperbolic for us as a club. The transformation under those two has been remarkable, and they brought David Artell in and they stuck with him. He had, like you say, a bit of a settling in period. He obviously inherited players that maybe necessarily weren't his players, and that takes time, doesn't it? Manager takes time to bed in and get his ideas across, especially when it is a bit of a different approach to the way you've been playing and the way you've been used to playing. He did want to go about things in a different way. So it took a little bit of time. Thankfully, the owner stuck with him and stuck by him. And yeah, we seem to be going really well under him now. He's definitely given the team an identity. He's brought in a different type of player. We're a lot more of a technical side now, and the signings sort of back that up that we've seen under him. We've gone more data driven as a club, so I don't know if you've seen, but we've got a link up with Jamestown Analytics, who are sort of work with Brighton and sort of the offshoot of Tony Bloom's company there, and so a lot of data driven signings, so a few under the radar signings, which is nice, which we have to do because we're not the biggest spenders in the world. We haven't got the biggest budget. We never have been. We never have done, sorry. So we're bringing in some interesting players, some that aren't particularly known to fans on these shores, that aren't known to us. There's some names come out of nowhere from like Iceland and the Faroe Islands that we've signed in recent years. And yeah, it's taken time for him to. Well, it took him a little bit of time, but we stuck with him, and I think that's paying dividends now. So yeah, really, really pleased to have him. I consider ourselves very fortunate because obviously he was out of the game for a while, Dave, after his time at Crewe, and I think he had a lot of interest, but he sort of took his time, and thankfully he seemed to chime really well with our owners, and it was a sort of a good match. Really, it's working well for us.
Yeah, good to hear, and obviously interesting approach. It's good to hear as well. Sort of better ownership, because I think that was a real bone of contention the last time that we were sort of playing each other. So yeah, always nice to hear that moves on. But yeah, you mentioned a lot about the signings that you made there, maybe the strategy that goes into it. How about the kind of squad generally? Who would you say that Cambridge fans going or watching should keep an eye out for?
Well, I mean, I think for me, we've got a lot of players that are coming to the fore at the minute, but George McEachran is sort of, for me, the sort of the player that makes us tick. He's an incredibly gifted footballer, one of the sort of the most technically gifted players we've had at town for a long time. As you can tell, I'm a massive fan. But yeah, sort of everything goes for him. He's sort of metronomic and just keeps us ticking over. And tends to be when he plays well, we play well. Picks up a lot of second balls, gets on the ball, keeps it moving. He's very comfortable. Always seems to have time. Hopefully that's the case on Saturday. But yeah, no, George McEachran is sort of for me one of our standout players. And then you've got the likes of Kieran Green, who's been completely transformed under David Artell. Scored on Saturday scored the opener at Milton Keynes. He was sort of a player that I think a lot of town fans, or certainly a number of town fans, expected to go when David Artell arrived, because he was sort of seen perhaps unfairly as a bit of a sort of an enforcer, and he sort of put his boot in the midfield and gave it to the lads who sort of maybe would be seen as more technically gifted. But he's been absolutely transformed under David Artell, and he's a real threat for us now. Jace Cabia, we signed from Truro. He's adapted to life really, really well in the league. He's a threat for us. A lot of pace in behind, likes to battle well with the centre half as well, and he's obviously among the goals. And then on Saturday, probably just to give him a mention, Charles Vernham, who's sort of a local lad, local schoolboy that sort of grew up, went to Derby County. He was signed for town a couple of times. He's settled now. He's had a lot of injury problems, an awful lot of injury problems that have probably stopped him from reaching his sort of full potential. Because when he's on it, he's an excellent player. And anyone who saw the game on the highlights from the Milton Keynes game would have seen what a cracking player he is. Scored an absolute worldie, and set up others as well. So he's sort of in the form, in a really rich vein of form. Obviously scored the opener against United as well, which we don't tire of talking about. So yeah, there's some sort of threats there that sort of tend to be, when they play well, we're bang on it. And that's not to mention the lads at the back who've done a really good job as well. So yeah.
Quite a few then. That's good to hear.
Well, I didn't want to go on. I didn't mean to go on. Apologies.
No, that's all right. It's no problem at all. So it sounds like we're in for a bit of a challenge, which kind of leads you on quite nicely then. How do you see the game going on Saturday?
Well, I think it'd be, because I mean, from the outside looking in, I mean, Neil Harris is a manager that's sort of always gets his teams well organised, and certainly, like I say, from the outside looking, I might be talking tripe, I don't know, but he looks to be a manager that gets his team well organised and well drilled, and that's tend to be this season anyway, where we've come a little bit unstuck, where teams have sort of sat in and dug in or made it difficult for us, especially like coming to Blundell Park as an away team, who've sort of maybe looked to keep it tight and see what they can do. That's where we've struggled. Like, we've struggled against Harrogate, Accrington, and sort of dropped points against them. But then on the flip side, when teams have come to us, like sort of Man United in the Cup, where they obviously came, and they're Man United, so they came and played their way with them multi-million-pound players, and we sort of really took it to them, and sort of that suited us. Same with Milton Keynes on Saturday. They were sort of quite open, and we sort of had a real go at them, went toe-to-toe with them. So I suppose it all depends on how Cambridge approach the game. Well, hopefully we sort of dictate it, but if Cambridge come and sort of sit in and make it really tricky, it could be a sort of a difficult afternoon. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw. I'd like to see a town win, but who knows? But yeah, I suppose it sort of depends how the game goes. I'd like us to sort of hit the levels that we did against first half against Milton Keynes, because we looked a really, really good side on Saturday. But then second half was sort of a complete contrast to that. So I'm hoping we sort of learnt a few lessons from that. Obviously, it was a bit funny after Milton Keynes went down to 10 men. It was a strange game, but yeah, it could be an interesting afternoon. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing, because obviously you've come down from League One. You're always expected to do relatively well, unless you're Forest Green Rovers and you fall through the leagues. But I think in Cambridge, you've got some good players. And Panzu, I remember thinking what a good player he was at Luton. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how it pans out really, and what sort of how both teams approach it, I suppose.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Well, we'll have to see how it all goes. Well, Matt, thanks so much for joining us, and all the best for the rest of the season.
And you, mate. Thanks very much.
Righto. Thank you, Tomo, and thank you to the View from the Findus podcast for their insights into Grimsby Town. Seem to be enjoying their season so far. Good for them. Casper, is it fair to say this is the toughest test of the season so far for Cambridge United? Away from home, Grimsby, 4th, 5th in the league?
I think they're 4th. Yeah, they're 4th. Yeah. They're doing all right. I guess they're riding momentum as well is the problem for us. Is not only are they a good side, and not only is Grimsby away, that would be a tough assignment any day of the season, right? Genuinely, I think before the season started, you'd have looked at that and put it down as probably one of our 4 or 5 hardest games on the slate. And we're running into them at a time they got a huge amount of momentum. So obviously they go on to play Sheffield Wednesday in their own League Cup game the following Tuesday. The game, so much so the game's been moved to all tickets. I believe that they're actually doing a pretty good job of selling home tickets. So to be honest, good for them. We should take a lot of inspiration when clubs that are what I would say a similar size and profile to us have these buoyant moments. We obviously need to go and gate crash their party, which is fine. But yeah, I would say this is a pretty tough assignment. But same thing we said in the review pod. Are we going to see the best of a Neil Harris team in this environment? Like, will it actually suit us to go somewhere, not be the bookies' favourites? Probably, maybe only Col U away. I think that might have been the case. Maybe Bristol Rovers away, but they would have been marginal. Is it going to suit us? A bit of siege mentality. Like Neil Harris is the right kind of bloke for this assignment, I think. And I just feel like we will do probably some tactically slightly different, slightly interesting things. So like any of these games, it's still early in the season. I'm optimistic. I think the reality or the sense of what could happen is if it's a humbling defeat and some other results kind of slide against us, there's a very real world where we finish the day like, 15th in League Two? And I have a sense there will be a little bit of discord if that's how it goes down, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to think about that. Don't worry about that. One of the things I picked up from the fan preview there, usually we think of Grimsby as a big physical side. Obviously, we struggled against that on Saturday with Oldham and their physicality. Matey was saying that's not the case this season. They're more of a technical team. It was also sort of implying that they struggle against teams that sit in deep. Is that what you think we're going to be doing, Casper? Like, before we go on to sort of lineups and who's going to be playing there, like, what do you think the mentality will be? Do you think it will be sort of soak it up and try and hit on the break, or do you think we'll try and do that Neil Harris start fast? Thinking of the Swindon away game with the early Brophy goal. What do you think the game plan will be on Saturday?
I think we're going to sit and we're going to soak. I think we're going to try and sit and soak pressure and suck the life out of that football match, basically, like a good Neil Harris team.
What are you thinking?
If that makes sense.
McLovin, Domble, Pelly, all playing. Absolutely stack out that midfield.
Flirting into lineup. I think it's going to be different. I think it will go 5 at the back.
Who's the 5? Who's the 5?
With wing backs, he'll keep Bennett. I think Bradshaw comes in for Perrington, because I think it's hard to drop Perrington if you're playing a flat back 4. But if you go wing backs, you've got the perfect license to sit him down. that would be quite a big call. I'm not sure they're going to do it. I just think I would be very interested to see it, if you know what I mean. You then have that back three where Gibbons comes in, Job and Watts. I would sit in Panzu. I just don't think you can play a football match as badly as he played on. I just think certain things just shouldn't be allowed to happen. And if we talk all about culture and standards and how we're trying to raise this and that, just don't think there's a world where he can start this football match. I don't care how well seasoned he is. I don't care what his pedigree is. This is great. This is from the feedback from Twitter. It's really riled me up. I hate him. No, I don't hate him. No, we like Pelly. I just think...
Just don't say that it's played in the Prem, mate.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Don't let facts get in the way of a good situation. What does that leave you with? 5. I've got Ball in the plug, just
McLovin,
carrying.
Of course.
I think McLovin must be there. Yeah, he probably will do that. Double pivot with a back 5. How many players are you left with? We've got 3 more to use. And then like a 2-1. Very negative, if you know what I mean. Probably Appare up there. Kai and Brophy, I'm guessing. Yeah, so Knight sits down in that environment. So you got McLovin coming in for Knight. You've got Panzi dropping out for, I guess, Gibbons, theoretically, because Gibbons is going into a back 3 centrally. And then you've got Bennett and Bradshaw. So 3 changes. But it's very much setting up to, McLaughlin's got to be, if he comes in, he's got to be putting himself all over the place. Firstly, because he wants to get his shirt back. Secondly, because he should be high energy. Do you know what I mean? Just putting himself about. I want to see him and Gibbons in particular just flying into these challenges. Like, I don't really see that from Don Ball. I just feel like Ball's a bit more measured and controlled. But I feel like, McLaughlin and Gibbons are your 2 guys who are like, just, attack dog, get out there. And to be honest, the way Oldham started, I thought was really impressive. I just feel like for 10 or 15 minutes, not even up to their goal, even before they just, there was a gap before they scored, but they just did a really high press. Even first 5 minutes of the game, they were very snapping into us, and then they just sort of sat it back. But again, I think a lot of this just disrupts rhythm for the home team, sets a bit of a tone. I also think having wing-backs would be unexpected, if you know what I mean. I don't think that's what Grimsby would be anticipating. So again, I don't have badges, as everyone knows, famously.
It's interesting. It's interesting you're suggesting the sort of the radical change and back 5 and so forth. I get it. I get the theory. I just keep coming back to the fact that Swindon away, Bristol Rovers away in the league. Can't remember Colchester away now, but I'm feeling pretty confident he's stuck with a 4-2-3-1. So I'm just wondering if he's stuck with that. So I think we might see something similar to, I don't know, maybe like the Swindon and the Bristol away games. So the back 4, keep Purrington in there. I think that the deep line 2 will be Ball and McLovin. I think the same as you. McLovin comes in and Ruddock drops out. But I think that's probably the only changes I'm seeing. But we shall see on Saturday.
Yes, we're caught in that space, aren't we, between prediction and like desire. Do you know what I mean?
I can't believe you're the one advocating for 3 at the back. People are going to be messaging me to check I'm okay.
Yeah, that's it.
How do you think Saturday's going to play out then, mate? You feeling confident? And can I push you for a score prediction?
Oh God,
I haven't done my Moosenet yet, so I
probably have done it.
I need to remember to
advance.
Do that.
Let me look, because I'll use that, because I'll have been showing sound mind when I did my prediction. I've got 1-0 Grimsby, so a little narrow home win, which I can live with. I've definitely got the attendance wrong here. It's going to be higher, isn't it? Than 5,500, because I think they've sold well. How is the game going to go? I don't know. It's always that thing, isn't it? The closer and closer we get to kickoff, the more optimistic I feel. Why is that? Proper football fan like condition, where as each day and each hour goes by, I just think, yeah, why not? Why not? And the main thing I'm basing that on is I just really think it's going to suit us to not be the favourites. And I really feel like Harris will set the mentality really well, if that makes sense. I also think I know there'll be rotation for that Fulham game that's coming up, but if you're going to give McLaughlin a start, you say, look, you want to play in that Fulham game, sold 4.5 that, you know what I mean? You can start to use that Fulham game on the horizon as a bit of a a motivator for some of these squad player, on the edge of the fringes of the first team, Gibbons and McLaughlin, even Ben Knight, if he does get a start, say to him, look, you want to be starting games, you want to play in this cup game because it's reasonably sizable. Like, go out and earn it. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's too early to call it an inflection point in the season, but we're starting to hit that stage of the season now where the league table starts shaping up. Was it Derry who said you can't look for 10 games or 15 or something? I think he was just trying to buy himself time when he'd not won for the first 7 games or something.
If it was a cliche, it's probably Derry that used it.
Yeah. But like, all jokes aside, we're not far off. Get towards the end of September, heading into October, and you suddenly like heading towards a quarter of the way through the season. So it's like we've got to start taking this league table a bit more seriously. There isn't actually anything wrong with our away form. See, 3 games, 3 points. The theory being, a point per game away is fine. If you're taking 2 points from your home games, we're not. And that's the big problem we have right now, is that we need to, whilst I do think we're mid-table, doesn't mean I want to sit on my hands all season and just accept mediocrity, I guess. So there's 2 different versions of what a mid-table team can look like. There's like a team that finishes 9th or 8th, right? And sort of knocks on the playoffs. There's a team that finishes 15th. And to me, they're massively different seasons. So I'm comfortable with us being a bit inconsistent and unstable. But the trade-off in that is you need more results this season, like Colchester, where you go to an away game where you're not necessarily fancied or expecting to get a result, and you go and get a win. And we need to do that probably 5 or 6, 7 times this season. And if we do that 5, 6, 7 times, then maybe you will be knocking on around the playoffs. So we certainly want to look at the playoffs and not just sat in resignation for mid-table, if that makes sense. So why not up at Grimsby? Why not this Saturday? Why not leave ourselves, 10th again, going into a really appetizing home game against Fleetwood, which you'd feel like we should also win, that pushes us up to like 7th or 6th in the table. We're starting to string some results together back to back, which is how a playoff campaign is put together. So yeah, fuck it. Yeah, we're going to win. We're going to win 1-0.
Do you know what? I'm going to put a lot of my outlook for the season into the result from Saturday, because the last 2 times I've seen this club get promoted, the Grimsby away game has been an impressive one. It was confident and it was efficient when we went there, when we got promoted under Bonner, when we went there, and when we got promoted in the conference year. That was the great sort of midweek one.
I was there Tuesday night.
And all that. Yeah. So there's a lot on the Blundell Park visit. If it goes well, then I will think good things from the season coming. I also just think it's really important on Saturday to see what this squad is made of, not only in terms of responding to a disappointing defeat, but also going to these games against the better teams or the fancier teams in the league and doing and putting in a performance and getting a result. It's been a bit of a mixed bag so far. A win and a loss at Bristol Rovers, a loss at Swindon, but then a win at Colchester. So the signs are there. 2 out of the 4 that we've been able to get results from. My take on Saturday, I think it might be a draw. I think it might be a 1-1.
I'll take it.
Sneaky feeling. I've got a sneaky feeling we score first, and then we're disappointed that we don't win the game.
I mean, honestly, I'll snap your hand off for that now. The idea that we'll walk out disappointed to take a point up there. Feels stretchy right now, but no, we're going to win. Lavery gets a last minute, like a bundled winner as well. Do you know what I mean? No one knows who scored down at our end. It's a great end to score a goal, and it's right in front of you, literally in the back of the net. It feels like in that away end. So, and also we're Fulham 4,500, great. We're taking like 500-600 up to Grimsby, which I also think is like,
it's good effort.
That's a huge effort. So it's great to be taking all these numbers to these games. Let's see what happens.
Hey, we don't need the League One big games and big away days. We've got Grimsby away.
Right.
Yeah, well, good luck and safe travels to all of those United fans going up on Saturday. I hope the boys get a good result for your efforts. It seems like a good point to remind you, Caspel, that your cooking is due to finish in about a minute. So maybe we should wrap this up. Quick reminder, we've got the coconut tier. For £5 a month, subscribers get at least one featured article every week. This week is a really good stat pack article from the very intelligent Ben Griffiths. You also get bonus podcast content every month, and you'll get first dibs on upcoming merch, which is in the pipeline. So thank you to all those that are subscribed. If you want to find out more information, head to undertheabbeystand.com. Thanks as always to the Old Spring, our sponsor this season. Remember, their match day offers apply to away games as well. So if you're not going on Saturday and you're at a loose end, get yourself to number 1 Ferry Path. Matt Caspel, I think you've managed, it's 50 minutes without insulting anyone. So I'm just going to end the call now before you say anything ridiculous. That seems fair, right?
Sure.
We'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks for listening.